And then, record only. Oh, it says we're already live.
Oh!
What do you know?
What a live button up there.
You should think I got this figured out. Nope. Well, it doesn't show live yet. Just a second. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Hey everybody. We're sharing this to another page really quick. Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. This is really hard to do when you're like,
you're like, well, if we didn't have the screen on, and it's not like you could do it. Just be like,
it says on a page I manage. I can't do it. You have to go to my Facebook page and share it over to your page, maybe. Okay, we've got people watching us. So, hey everybody, if you're tuning in, I'm really excited you're here. We're working through some difficult things. But if you, along the way, I can't see who's watching. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment box. And if you don't register with StreamYard with your Facebook and connect the two of them, no problem. Just drop in what your name is so that when we answer your question, we can give you a shout out as well. This afternoon, I'm very excited to host Melissa. She's with Destination Massage and Wellness. And gosh, I've known Melissa for a couple of years now. And over the last 5 or 6 years, everyone loves a good massage, but I have a tendency to really like massages that are like you feel like you've got a good massage if you're a little bit sore afterwards, like not all of this relaxation. And we were introduced to Melissa through some friends of ours, and she's an incredible massage therapist, but also led on the side of helping actually solve or through like muscle soreness or tendons and muscles I never even knew existed, and helping alleviate like chronic pains and stuff, especially when it comes to running and working out and that sort of thing. So, do you hear that feedback, Melissa, really quick before we get any farther? Okay.
Question?
No, there's just a little bit of noise feedback. I'll turn my volume down a little bit and see if that helps. Okay, technical issues. So, Melissa, why don't you, I'm just going to give you the floor, and we're going to start with like just why your massage is, or you're, as a therapist, you're a little different than maybe the average massage therapist. What makes you special?
Well, so I would definitely say that what starts me off as being special is probably my mindset with massage. When I have people come in or that regular clients and they say, oh, I'm going to get a massage, but did you know what my friend said about it? They're like so jealous, but then I'm like, nah, it's going to be like a painful hour. Let's start with like breaking down a misconception of, first of all, like deep tissue and the fact that it doesn't have to be relaxing, but it also doesn't have to be painful. So when I think of relaxing, and that is one therapy benefit of massage, but massage therapy has almost an abundant amount. There's almost no reason why massage wouldn't help. It's one of the oldest and most ancient ways of healing. Our first reaction was, if we hit something like stub our toe, what do? We grab it, we hold it. That's compression. That's one of the first ways humans tried to heal themselves, was massage techniques. So it's a healing art form that extends way past relaxation. And not that relaxation isn't good for you, especially if there's people that are having a lot of stress, which with the whole ordeal going on right now is not a bad thing, right? But it's not always what I need to do for somebody. And then we go into, well, what are the other things that massage therapy could do? And just to name a few is Basically, we can help with emotional, we can help even with children with behavioral issues. There's continuing education classes on that, and especially going into like the psychological aspects of people who've even had like rape victims or things like that. Massage is that first one where I know there's like dietitians that work with bulimics, and what they do is they make them go eat. Like, so one of the things that they've had with massage therapists is that they have these people that are afraid of touch actually go get touched. So it helps with that, but also if you're having kids with behavior issues or things that, or children that just weren't in a caring or situation maybe that they've been put through the system a couple of times, massage can help break down barriers that they've been holding emotionally. And so we can use massage for that. But you can also use massage for helping with respiratory problems, getting the lungs clear. There's tapping mechanism or tapping techniques and cupping techniques that we use to help actually clear up mucus in the lungs. There's sinus pressure points that we can press to help to alleviate some of the sinus and allergy pressure that people have been having, especially with the crazy pollen this year. So more than that, you can also help with heart problems. You can help with reducing blood pressure issues and slowing heart rate just by the pace of the massage, and also trying to get everything in the blood flowing, and so it can help with the heart, and it can also help with stretching. So flexibility is one thing, not just like pain from the muscles, but stretching helps with flexibility, helps people get moving, and that can also potentially help with balance. And then getting into like the muscle and pain side of things, there's a lot of people with pain from arthritis, which you can't really, I can't undo damaged joints. However, usually when people have arthritis, it's painful to move. And when it's painful to move, they stop moving. And that can cause more problems and issues at the joint. So me alleviating some of the tightness around the joint actually helps to reduce some of the pain so they can kind of move. And when they can start moving, it helps to actually reduce some of that inflammation there too. And so
move the inflammation through the body, like work the inflammation out basically.
Yeah, so you can do even with a little bit of lymph drainage, you can actually kind of help push the fluid away. I can't ever say that I can get rid of inflammation all the way, right? It's something that's being caused inside internally, chemically. But I have helped reduce swollen knees or feet or ankles and hands. Even with rheumatoid arthritis, I had a patient client that had very red hands and feet from the rheumatoid, and just doing a little bit of slow strokes help actually reduce a lot of the redness, and she was able to move her hands a lot more. So there's things that we can do from different aspects than just the relaxation for the side of relaxing muscles. Not that that's not a bad thing.
Like, yeah, relaxation is good. There's a time and place. Like when I'm on vacation, I think about like going for a massage. I haven't necessarily been exerting myself, and typically there's some sun damage to the skin. So a little bit of a relaxation of a massage is better many times in like the deep tissue. You touched
on vacation, you go for relax, like you go to unwind anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then at home, when I'm exerting myself or working out or running, or I'm just sitting at a desk a lot, and I carry my stress on my shoulders, which is compounded by the fact that I spent 10 years carrying a really heavy camera bag and camera on my shoulders. So it's pretty good.
That's the reason why you came to see me.
Yeah. Because all the tension and damage here was causing headaches and tension headaches.
Out on the table, I was like, "You're carrying a bag on one side."
Yeah, and it's on. You knew the side too, because it had bad shoulders. So thankfully, a lot of that has been released or relieved through consistent not so much relaxing, but therapeutic massage, we'll call it. And knowing, I guess for you, it's just like knowing the pressure points. And I will say I've done other massages where I did, and I would say that the deep tissue part, like it was a lot more painful and squirming and stuff. And so for your massages, I've noticed that, like you said, I think that it doesn't have to be painful to be effective. Like you can still get like that deep tissue or like working out the pain points or the knots and things without like literally being in tears.
Right. That's another misconception that people have, and that's really based off of the client coming in and not necessarily always listening to the therapist. And all the spas that I've been to, there are some people that come in like, oh, I just want relaxation. Or the other one is, I just want you to go as hard as you can. Because if you're not going deep, then it's not doing anything. It's like, well, technically, that's not correct either way. You think about it. Deep tissue is just a layer and not necessarily a pressure. So deep in terms of medical terms, we call superficial is closer to the top of the skin, and deep is closer to like the bones or the organs or anything like that. Okay. So you do not have to be painful to actually go through a couple of layers. I use a lot of positional release to actually slacken the top muscles so I can go in deeper. The only time that it becomes like extremely painful, myofascial can be painful just because it's ripping tissue off of the muscle, and that can feel like it's burning. Everything else is also based off of the client's perception of how fast can we fix things. So if you have a client that is, I want this done right now, it's going to be a lot more painful. Most of the time, the muscle just needs to have you wait. And that is when it becomes a lot less painful, but it takes a lot longer for it to happen. A 90-minute session could be just upper body and potentially only like shoulders and chest and upper back if you allow the time for the muscle to actually loosen. And that is actually a better and longer lasting massage than the ones that are like hit it and get out. But you have the people that get out of pain really quickly and they come back, but it also keeps kind of coming back. So either way, it could still come back. I won't say that if I do slow and controlled and medium to firm pressure that it will never come back, because everybody does something for 8 hours or plus a day for work. And if you're not balancing life with stretching or exercising, even chiropractic care, then it's going to come back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about a lot of these lives this month. I've discussed the getting to the root cause of our pain or chronic pain, especially chronic pains or illnesses. You know, like autoimmune or inflammatory diseases, and like how so much of that, when we talked to Dr. Dodd, was can be in the food you eat or in medicines you're taking, side effects, and what that's doing to your gut health. And many times we don't think about like, it's like get like a massage, right? He's easily going for a massage because I have a headache and I know that my shoulders are tight and there's tension there, so I'm just going to go and alleviate that. Go hard and go fast, like get rid of the pain and discomfort I feel right now. But 5 days from now, as soon as I like pick up my camera bag again and I'm carrying it around for 12 hours, like guess what? The next day, that pain is likely going to be back. And so it's not something that can be cured overnight. But if we can get to like understanding what's causing it, and then look for other ways to address the root cause of things, along with treatments, be it chiropractic or massage or what have you, then we alleviate long-term health is improved. Yeah.
Well, that kind of gets into another area of why I'm a little bit different. One, why people usually come to me for certain areas, my specialty is in low back, pelvis, pain, and upper back, neck, shoulders, and also feet. What I also add to make a little bit different is I add essential oils to help with the different aspects, like we talked about, with the different areas that we'd be working on, whether it's lungs or the heart or pain or emotional stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I add in essential oils to help. So even if it is like gut health, ginger is one that I would add into somebody's session, or potentially even peppermint. Ginger is a great essential oil.
Ginger?
Yeah, ginger.
All right.
It is a wonderful aid in digestion health. You can also add it with a couple of other things, like grapefruit is a metabolism booster. So that's one where even doctors will prescribe for the people that get like the lap band surgery and everything. They will make them eat grapefruits in the morning to help actually lose weight. So it's a big boost in metabolism. I'll just produce a little story here and forgive my family for telling it. But I had a regimen that I was doing kind of a study on when I went on a cruise last January. And I had my digestion health, and I also had like my immune boosters. And I was taking those every single morning on the cruise. And 2 days into the cruise, my mom and dad like get a stomach bug and are quarantined. And then my brother gets it. And guess who was the only person that didn't get it? Yeah, I was taking the essential oils and for digestion and immune, and I got to go on the excursion. So I was really happy I at least got to do that, but I think it was a really good testament to the power of the oils for sure.
Yeah. I think we just did our trip. We were traveling around the world when COVID all broke out middle of January. And I had taken oils with me because of the immune boosting. I just didn't want to be sick with any cold or all the things you catch on planes and trains and automobiles. And so, and I think that was we didn't get sick at all. There was like one day where we felt tired and had a little like sinusy stuff, but it didn't keep us in the room or keep us from going out and exploring. And I contributed to, I think we just upped our doTERRA or On Guard intake and vitamin C's and stuff. And so it's definitely beneficial. Prevention over taking care of it once you're sick.
Right. It's harder to build up once you've already gotten sick, but if you're taking it, it does help. However, there is a combination called the Flume Bomb, and that one is pretty potent for sure. It's almost like we can't say it's taking an antibiotic, but but we do take it when it was sick. My mom was really, really sick in December. She actually thinks she had like COVID back then.
Okay.
All like coughing, and she just couldn't stop. And I finally decided to give her like the pills of it, and she took it for 2 days, and it finally broke. And she had it for a week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's potent stuff. I love the oils, and I was really glad when I started doing massages with you that you use them. And it's like I guess not like massage oils, but like the therapeutic grade oils. Yeah. There's a difference. Some people just use like massage oils or like the scented stuff, because I think a lot of places you can go and you choose your scent for your massage. I've seen that at resorts a lot. But the therapeutic grade is different. You've touched a little bit on massage and emotion, and then maybe speak to that a little bit more. I can remember back in college, I had a friend training for massage to become a massage therapist, and I still remember like she was doing some work on my back and stuff, and like literally I started crying, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Anyone's had that experience before. She's like, oh, like it's just I guess we store trauma and emotion and feelings and stress in our bodies, and sometimes like that is released in massage or can be released and healed per se, but there's a release in there when you're in massage.
Yeah, it is actually called an emotional release.
Oh,
Like,
I was on it.
and you can have it at any moment in time. You don't even know when it's going to happen. You just get all of a sudden overwhelmed because something releases. And I've had, I'd say I could count it on one hand how many emotional releases I've had on my table. But a lot of times everybody's just like, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't sorry. Like, this is part of whatever you had going on, and now it's letting go, and whatever was being held by is now released, and whether or not that is chest muscle or legs or something else, something is finally going to be allowed to move more freely because you're not holding anymore. So if you think about it, when we are emotionally tethered to something would be a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, and I'm not like giving a hard time out to these people, but there are a lot of taller women that usually crunch down to be closer to people.
Okay, sure.
And that emotion is actually linked to insecurity and self-doubt and things like that, because we're covering it in and holding it in. Well, if I have somebody that I have now opened, right, and didn't expect any of that feeling, and they started to emotionally release on the table, it's more from now they actually feel a little bit easier about themselves. You can see it on their faces, and when they come back, they stand a little bit prouder. And it's not even that I talk to them about this being something. And I have on one or two occasions with clients, I'm like, this keeps coming back because you are in a holding pattern because you're holding something back. And it will keep coming back, and it's not necessarily a movement or like an exercise that you're constantly doing. It's an actual emotional hold that you're holding on to something. I was in an integrated muscle class, and I was working on somebody, and her trap kept on releasing, but it kept on closing back off. So I asked the instructor, who is an emotional release expert, she basically came over and was like, have you been trying to tell somebody something about letting go? And she's like, yeah, I have. So she didn't like go into depth. She's like, you don't have to tell me about it. You need to be at peace with that emotion in yourself. And as soon as she did that, like her shoulders just went boom. And she just let it go. And you could see like a little bit of a peaceful emotion kind of come over her, and it didn't clench back up.
That's cool.
So there is actual massage, and she teaches classes about it. It's and I'd love to take it one day, but she actually goes through all of the areas if they're tense and not letting go, what you need to actually work on emotionally for.
Interesting. Yeah, because I think that I mean, I've learned that a lot in coaching and reading, like just research and studying and stuff, just how much we store within our cells and bodies, like how much we're holding from our past trauma or pain or disappointment, or I mean, there's a lot, and we carry it with us all the time until it's repaired and released. I wondered about like chiro. We kind of mentioned that. I know Jason, Dr. Regis, when he was on our talk with him last week, he talked a little bit about chiro and massage and how the importance of that from chiropractic perspective. And that's originally your office or your room was in with a chiropractor. And now you have your own place. And so what are some of the benefits maybe for anyone that sees a chiropractor, or maybe they fell or were in a car accident or something and they're now seeing a chiropractor? What are some reasons maybe they should consider massage therapy with that chiropractic?
I think actually where I should point out the most important thing, I think three things are going to get people on a wellness care. And that is chiropractic massage, but also exercise, whether that's yoga or Pilates. something that you're not just lifting weights, but it's developing the full body from core to small, finer muscles and things and motions that you're not normally going to do. They help to support you. Anybody can go in and start to lift weights, but it's not necessarily targeting things that will prevent or reverse joint pain. So it's all about a balancing act. If you get into a car accident, usually your muscles will start to seize. Sometimes the impact will cause the bone to go out, but not always. Sometimes you don't feel it until the muscles have gotten so tight, they literally will pull a joint out of place, like the spinal disc. And that is when chiropractor and massage come into play. I can release it so it lets go, but it doesn't always, sorry, I'm getting in the middle of the camera. So it doesn't always go back, right? So if I've loosened the muscle, the pull has stopped, but it doesn't mean it won't go back out. Well, if it stays here this whole time, it's going to start to get tight again, and it'll start to keep shifting it again because it's already over there, and you're going to cause damage from the subluxations that's going on and the vertebrae that's out. And so the adjustment puts it back into place. Now we want to relax the muscles and keep that together and stay on top of care with the adjustments and massage. I usually like to do a massage, then an adjustment as soon as you can. Hopefully they're right around the corner from each other, because you don't want that to happen. Now, if you think about if this goes out, there we go. This goes out and you get it adjusted. If you don't work on the muscle, it's just going to keep on going back out. And that can happen in 30 minutes to an hour. So you get adjusted and you're like, well, I felt kind of good for a day, but it just keeps on happening, and they have to keep getting adjusted. Well, that means your muscles are not loose enough to actually let the joint stay in place and prevent the pull. Now, if you have a day-to-day job, usually there's an imbalance. A lot of people are at desks, so the shoulders kind of go forward and down. That, I'm trying to do this backwards with the camera, that extends your trap right here. If you see, these are normal shoulders, right? And they're balanced, whatever. I'm purposely doing it. But if you were to actually work on a computer, you see how those shoulders just rolled forward and down? That extends the trap up here. And that's why a lot of people have the pain right on the top scapula and up in the kind of mid neck. That's your levator scapula that is just at its fullest extent. It can't go any further, and both of its attachment points are just screaming at you. So what we do with that is we actually relax the pec so it stops pulling. So once it stops pulling, you kind of get a little bit of that motion. Now I actually start to stretch and open up and rotate and get that pec loosened up so much and the shoulder moved back. I've now taken all that pull. So this is the shoulder back and this is the forward.
Yeah.
That looks a little bit happier. Right? So I usually will recommend, once I start to loosen, you're going to have to strengthen your upper back and that mostly the rhomboids with people that have desk work basically, or computer work. So you're going to stretch the front and strengthen the back and get those shoulders back to where they need to be. So that's where the balance comes into play with exercise. So those three are really what you need to stay in a wellness pattern.
Yeah. It's good they can all work together.
Yeah.
They play well together. Cool. So to wrap up, what about the top 3 myths you feel like, or things you hear about massage or people say that you're like, well, that's not really true. Or not quite true, right? 3 misperceptions.
I think I know I touched over them for sure. One of the biggest, I think, for people who have never had a massage before is you do not have to get undressed. No massage therapist should make you get fully unclothed. If you're not comfortable with it, you're not comfortable with it. I can work on anybody clothed in a chair, on a table, half clothed on a table, or fully undressed because I use the draping. So you should be comfortable in any form on the table. And I think that's definitely a misconception because there's too many people out there that are like, well, I don't want to get undressed in front of a stranger. Well,
Yeah.
I don't want you to get undressed in front of me either.
That's also not normal.
Don't do that while I'm still in the room. Thank you. So I think that's like a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
I remember my grandpa, when he was here, was it Christmas or Thanksgiving? He never had a massage before. Well,
yeah.
And he had an accident on his 4-wheel years ago that he landed on his head and he's kind of had it messed up back since. And he was so scared.
Yeah.
There's kind of an inside story there. I don't think it's ever written in Facebook Live. He may never forgive me. But it's super cute because he was just really, really nervous about going for this massage. Part of it was because I told him it was in a strip mall. And the other part was he just didn't know what to expect. And I think the big part of it was like the undressing part.
Yeah.
He's a very conservative man. And the idea of like, you know, like, he doesn't know. What am I supposed to do? Do I have to take my clothes off? And that's a little discerning when I don't know the person. And so I think that's a really good point to touch on is number one. Because and a good massage therapist should be able to still work regardless of what clothes you do or you choose to wear or not to wear.
Right.
Yeah, so that sets your mind at ease.
Yes.
And he came back so happy he did it. He did a lot of like he was able to
I love the story, so
oh my gosh, it was a good story. He took that one home. But you know, he could look his range of motion, I guess, in his neck was so vastly improved, even in just one session. So it turned out really well. But anyways, that made me think of his experience because he was one of them that was like he wouldn't have done it on his own. I think in that simple fear of not knowing what to expect or what to do, you know, when he gets there and goes into the room.
Right.
Number one.
A YouTube video of how to get a massage.
True.
There should be, and I've thought about it even when I worked at Massage Envy, like a video that's put up, like what to expect in a massage room, because there's just too many people that don't know what you're going to get into, and the nerves.
Yeah.
The nerves.
It's a little bit different too.
What?
Everywhere you go, like different facilities or different practices you go into, you might treat things or handle things a little bit differently.
Well, that's true because I usually work on glutes over the sheet, but it is completely legal for massage therapists to do skin on skin. I'm just a more modest worker, but I also love the traction of the sheet. And so you could go to Massage Envy and you can get one person that goes on the sheet, one person that won't even touch the glutes, and one person that is skin on skin. So it's very different. But that is where it is that client's responsibility and also the therapist. If I know that I'm going to work on somebody's glutes and it's the first time I'm working with them, I usually ask them, like, is it okay to work on the glutes? But I'll tell them, I'm not going to be skin on skin. So it is somewhat of our responsibility to at least like ask questions of certain areas. Also, the client should feel completely comfortable asking. So when you say the pecs, is this gonna happen?
Yeah, right. Is this a Thai massage?
Yeah, like, well, actually in New York, it's legal. So Georgia is not. So you can also look at the states and not actually expect every state to also have the same regulations. And also international. Like if you go to France, that's like it's called a French massage. And like they do that.
Yeah. I mean, and then I've had some
about that before you go in, and don't feel scared to ask those questions because the therapist is going to think, oh, well, I do this every day. It's no big deal. And that's
what's customary and what you're comfortable with may be very different. So if you're worried about anything, just to ask the questions.
Absolutely.
Is important. All right, that's number one. Clothing, boundaries, making requests. Number
third
2.
one. Yeah. Wait, or is that 2 or 3?
Okay, that could be, well, boundaries is 2. What's number 3?
Number 3, I think it doesn't have to be deep, or it doesn't have to be painful.
Yeah, the painful part, that is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be productive and be actually very beneficial without being painful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good.
And I think that some people treat also massage. So this is number 4.
Okay, that's okay. Bonus.
I think people treat massage as just a luxury, and that's where that relaxation comes in, and why we actually touched on the point of it being self-care for wellness. Because I've had plenty of clients that once they do get to a wellness point, which I usually have like at least once a month, either an hour or 90 minutes, that's my wellness plan for pretty much anybody that gets to a point of, hey, I'm not really in pain anymore. I was like, but keep on coming. I don't want to see you in like 6 months when you're like, I'm broken again.
Yeah.
Start everything over. The people that actually stay on the wellness, I've had come off of prescription pain medicines, and also like medicines for emotional things as well, because we've gotten past some things. So I would say that the other misconception is that there are people that think that massage don't really need to be put into a healthcare regimen, but all the clients that I finally have on maintenance, they would beg to differ for sure. Because especially during COVID, when I couldn't work, they're like, "When are going to be open? I cannot believe you weren't essential."
Yeah, seriously. That's true. And I think like for a lot of my friends and peers that are in like, especially if you're in a physical desk stuff, you know, like hours and hours at a desk and looking down or looking at phones and things, like there's all this. And that is a maintenance thing with your shoulders. If you're naturally somebody that carries a lot of stress and tension in your shoulders, but especially for the photographers or anyone doing like physical labor that's heavy and taxing. Several years ago, I think my husband, it was before we met you. And he got me for Christmas one year, a year of massages, and they were once a month. And it was significantly different how like going once a month, actually, just like we've been talking about, was like health, and my headaches and my shoulders actually got better, even though I was doing equally as much work and things and carrying, like my workload didn't change as much, but like the maintenance part was so much better than just going when it hurt. Because usually at the point of where I was finally signing myself up or making an appointment for a massage, I was toast. I'd hit, rock bottom, and it was a whole lot of pain. And so just one session wasn't nearly enough. And then it was like, you need to come twice a week, to really work through it. And so getting on a maintenance or a wellness plan has been exponentially better for health overall, and well-being. And I hope that will pay it forward when I hit like 80, and I won't be, good posture and good bones. That's the goal. So I really appreciate your time, Melissa, and sharing tidbits. So I loved our 4 points we made. Boundaries. You don't need to be, clothed or unclothed. It's your choice. I'm trying to remember.
Deep tissue doesn't have to be painful.
It doesn't have to be painful, and that it's not just for relaxation always, but it can be part of your wellness journey, really. At the end of the day, it's part of, as we said, I'm taking care of the root cause of our bodies and our symptoms so that we can have full and complete healing. So if you guys have any questions, if you watch this later, feel free to drop some comments in the box and we'll respond to them. And then Melissa, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can call or text our office phone number at 770-871-6005. You can also go to the Facebook page for Destination Massage and Wellness, and check it out. I'm still building the website, so expect to see that soon. And yeah, that's the best way.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.